Welcome, Franklin County residents, and thank you for tuning in to the candidate preview for office of County Sheriff, general election held November 8th, 2022. I'm J.C. Young, and I'm honored to serve on the Chamber Government Affairs Committee and your MC for this event. The office of County Sheriff was established under the first Constitution of Kentucky in 1792. The office of County Sheriff is quite unique compared to other law enforcement divisions, as sheriffs are tasked with many additional duties they are obligated to perform. Those duties fall into several categories, including tax collection, election duties, service to courts, and law enforcement. The sheriff's office over the years has become increasingly more challenging as the responsibilities have grown. I would like to publicly thank both candidates for seeking this position in Franklin County. Unfortunately, because of scheduling conflicts, we're unable to host a full candidate forum, and as a substitute for a forum, we've invited each candidate to make a statement. Before we begin, I'd like to thank and recognize the Frankfort Area Chamber of Commerce for establishing this candidate forum and the Frankfort Plant Board for hosting and broadcasting this event. Joining us now is Mr. Chris Quire, who will have 5 minutes to give remarks. Mr. Quire.
Thank you, sir. I want to first thank the Chamber and the Plant Board and also the viewers for watching this and being an informed voter. So over the last 3.5 years, I've served as your Franklin County Sheriff, and it's been my greatest honor. Before that, I actually started back in 2000 as a court bailiff under Ted Collins, and then I later went to the academy and served as a deputy sheriff for a little while. And then I later on went over to the Frankfort Police, where I promoted through the ranks to captain. And then 2018, I was lucky and won the election, and I've been serving as your sheriff ever since. And I asked for your vote, and I want to continue to do that. I'll give you some of the reasons I think that you should vote for me again. On my little handout from last time, which I have with me, there's a checklist. It says, I just want to point out that I've checked all these campaign pledges and promises off. The first one says sheriff's deputies should spend more time community policing and focusing on building relationships and working closely with members of the community. As you know, we often do events for holidays such as Halloween and Easter, and we're going to be hosting a movie night in partnership with Traditional Bank and the Fiscal Court coming up Saturday at Lakeview Park. And we'll do our Halloween drive again. So this is some of the events we're involved in. I think it builds partnerships, and it goes a long way when things go good or bad. You definitely want community support. The second was a sheriff should empower his staff both to succeed professionally and personally. I can pledge and let you know that I've definitely done that. We have a really good team, and things are going good. Third, we need to reduce the cost of redundancy by partnering with KSP and Frankfort Police. Well, my chief deputy was a retired post commander, which is a captain, rank of captain at KSP, so he brings that partnership. And of course, I had worked at Frankfort Police for 18, 19 years. So for the first time ever, we actually have 2 deputies that are assigned to their SWAT team. We go out with them, we train with them. It's a resource that, we can use their assets and they use ours. So instead of having 2 or 3 SWAT teams, we actually go out together, and we got 2 deputies that train and go out with them. Something I'm proud of. And we also, to take it a little farther, we have a deputy assigned to the DEA task force for the first time ever. So it brings you lots of federal assets when you need them for local cases. It also stops some of the bigger drug dealers versus just, the users when you have your federal cases going on. So that's been a thing that I always wanted to do, and we did that. Body cameras, I made a pledge to get those. We're actually on our 3rd upgrade. What we do, it's kind of like a cell phone. When you have it for a little while, there's always a bigger, better model with more battery power and more features. So we just implemented the newest version of the body cams just within the last month. So I'm proud to have cameras in the cars and body-worn cameras on the uniforms. We partner well with faith-based organizations such as churches. You see us out, I'm sure, on Sundays and Wednesdays directing traffic and doing security at local churches. And the last check mark was the sheriff's office should be held to a higher and professional standard and accountability. I think I've proven that. I've had to make tough decisions and letting some deputies go and some other staff, but I think when there's accountability, all your good employees know that, that piece is important. It's hard to let somebody go, but sometimes you have to do that, and we've done it when it's necessary. I've worked hard with our financial obligations, our fiduciary duties to have clean audits. Every year you get audited on your taxes, and then you get audited on your fees account, which incorporates all your donation accounts such as DARE, your asset forfeiture accounts, state and federal, and all the audits we've had, going on the 8th audit if you count going on the 4th year, and they've all been with no findings. So that's something I'm very proud of. And of course, tax collection's a big thing to make sure you disperse the money to 7 tax districts and it balances to a zero balance. But like I said, it's been my greatest honor to serve as your sheriff. I hope you'll keep me. I understand that every elected official can't say they've checked off their campaign pledges, but a lot of you might remember this brochure we passed out 4 years ago. And I just want to remind you, I did what I said, and I'll continue to serve as your sheriff and make the best decisions I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Quire. As I stated earlier, because of scheduling conflicts, we were unable to host a full candidate forum. As a substitute for the forum, we have invited each candidate for sheriff to come and make a 5-minute statement. We now have Mr. Sutton. 5 minutes. The floor is yours.
Thank you. My name is Steve Sutton. I'm the Republican candidate for sheriff. First of all, thank you to the Chamber for allowing me to be here today. I was born and raised in Franklin County, where I still reside today. I was a 1990 graduate of Franklin County High School and then Kentucky State University with a bachelor's degree in the summer of 1995. In November of 95, I was fortunate enough to be offered a position with the Frankfort Police Department, where I served for 20 years, retiring at the rank of lieutenant in 2015. I'm a 26-year veteran of law enforcement. With roughly 15 years supervisory experience, 3 years in the first line supervisor positions, about 9 years at the administrative level, and 3 at the executive level, where I currently serve as chief of police for a local area school district. The role of sheriff is traditionally seen different than most law enforcement agencies. You have tax collection, election stuff, but you also have law enforcement. If elected, my primary role that I want to see my agency focus on is back to law enforcement, especially in the rural areas of the county. No area of the community is exempt from crime, and crime and drugs know no boundaries, see no color, race, gender, or economic status. They affect everyone. I'll work to see that everyone is treated fairly and to make Franklin County as safe as I can for all residents. The drug problem has grown from a problem very small in nature that we've seen maybe in the past, secluded to certain areas. It has now become a widespread epidemic. I'll work with recovery centers, some of whom I met with over the summer, to try and get myself a better understanding of addiction, its causes, its solutions, and I will work with the courts, other law enforcement agencies, mental health groups, community leaders, and anyone I need to try and find common sense solutions that work. Make no mistake, the law will be strictly enforced. There will be consequences for bad decisions. I will run a professional organization and will expect my deputies and staff to have and uphold the highest of standards. Anyone not meeting those standards will be quickly shown the door by me personally. I'm not a politician. This is something new to me. I am not a good old boy. I'm a cop. It's what I've done it's kind of my calling. It's what I've done since I walked out of college. It was my dream. I take this very seriously. I will not be a behind-the-desk sheriff. I will be out in the community, seeing what's going on, working with my deputies. I think that's the only way you can properly do it. And community is key, because without their support, it will make our mission of making Franklin County a safe place to live and work a lot harder place to be. To quote Marshall Goldsmith, one of the great executive and leadership speakers of our time, you're only as good as your team. And when it comes to community safety, all of Franklin Countyans should be part of that team. Thank you. Just briefly, if you want to reach out and touch base with me, you can reach me on Facebook at Sutton for Sheriff or suttonforsheriff@gmail.com. I graciously ask for your vote Tuesday, November 8th, and no matter who you vote for, go out and vote that day. If you want a law and order candidate, I am your candidate. Thank you.
As we close, I would like to personally thank both candidates for sheriff for seeking this office. There have been some election law changes statewide in the last several years, and now there are multiple ways for you to cast your ballot in this election, a few of which include mail-in absentee ballots, early in-person voting before Election Day, and in-person Election Day voting November 8th, 2022. If you don't know where or how to vote, please call the Franklin County Clerk's Office at 502-875-8702 or check out their website. It's loaded with current election information. Voting is a right in this country provided by our Constitution, and these election changes will hopefully increase voter turnout and participation. It's been an honor to serve as the MC for this event. I'd like to thank all the folks that aren't on camera who have made this entire preview possible. I'd like to thank FPB staff and the chamber staff. That concludes this candidate preview, and I thank you for joining us.